So, Tina, if we find ourselves in this situation and we learn to try to adapt and love the person irrespective of this, how is it gonna be? Maybe I try to take the situation the way it is, but the more I try, the harder it becomes, because there are people that are so realistic that they find it difficult to adapt or accept certain changes or certain behavior. If this happens, what is the best advice for this person? Should the person walk away because of this, or sort for, is there any therapy for this, or what can the person do? Because I can't be dying in silence, even though I love this person and I'm trying to make it work out. But the more I try, the harder it still becomes to penetrate into this person, to know what is in this person's mind. Should I keep staying here or try working, finding a solution? What can I do?
Well, the first advice is always you try to talk to that person. Because if two people are in a relationship, and we're talking about intimate relationships more than to others because they trigger us way more than other relationships, the closer the person is, the more the pain we feel about the wrong things that the other person is doing, even though they're not wrong, they're just them. Yeah. So the first thing that I would do or suggest for my clients is go there and talk, try to talk. Because if two people are interested to keep the relationship, it's about both to adapt. So even though my partner doesn't want to write these long texts all the time, and maybe not even want to read the long text all the time, it's okay to send me like 2 texts a day. And even if it's a short thing, right? But just like, I think of you, it's not so difficult if this is so important to me and I cannot overcome it, right? Especially maybe in long-term relationships. In the short, maybe you can adapt to, if he's, and this is the second step of it, if he is trying to help you by writing these texts, even though it doesn't really come so much from him, and then one day he forgets about that, maybe you can adapt and don't be grumpy about that. So just breathe and think, okay, he's trying, that's just how he is. And don't punish him when he comes home like, oh, today you didn't write me a message, oh, you know, because that's making the thing worse. So if you have a nice evening, there is probably a moment when you can say like, you know, I would love you to think about me tomorrow, maybe with another text. It's okay, you didn't do that, but you know, like in a nice way. I always like to say, because when I was young, I had a boyfriend, and he said it was like, if you say something bad, look like the Brazilian women. And that kind of stick in my mind, because, you know, I mean, no one wants to be addressed in a bad way. But if you love someone and they come and ask you in a nice way, in I don't know, in a seductive way, that's a very different approach, and it's way more likely I try to fulfill what they're asking me to do than when they say like, yeah, you didn't do that, blah, blah, blah. I don't like that. But if someone comes and like, oh, honey, no, it's way more likely to fulfill that, because I feel the love coming towards me. And I do not want to like push away love. I want to push away hate or anger, because that doesn't make me feel good, but love makes me feel good. So I want more of that. So all the time in a relationship, I feel a good advice is, if there is something that you would like your partner to do or to adapt to make you feel better, they're going out of their usual way of doing their things. So I cannot force them to do so. So the only way to attract this into my life, make them do that for me, I can only attract that by love. Nothing else will happen. It cannot be by force. It can only be by the free will. And the free will I only can attract with loving the person more.
So be willing to be patient with the person as long as it takes. You know.
Well, as long as it takes is another thing, and it depends obviously on the
exactly.
Like if it's like he wants another girlfriend on the side, like, you know, this, and I don't want that, monogamous and polygamous relationships. Maybe there's no fix for that. So it depends on the problem. I mean, maybe there's no fix. There is no fix for that. If that's not what I want. I'm not judging if this is right or this is right. Everybody has to figure it out for themselves. So one thing that for me particularly can be nothing, for someone else is very important. So basically everybody has to figure out how important is the thing that I'm dealing with. How urgent is it for me that I have this thing fulfilled? And this is the basics for a decision, if the relationship is to continue or to stop.
Okay. All right, viewers, if you have any opinion